God. Hi, guys. Welcome back to another episode of Nurses Off Duty Podcast. We're back with another episode after a little hiatus. Mm-hmm. Yes. But Addie is back in town again, and we had to plan, right? Mm-hmm. We had to plan before she goes traveling again. So I just want to say welcome to our subscribers. Please don't forget us. Continue to subscribe and continue to watch our channel. We're going to continue to push out products. We're a little bit inconsistent right now, but there's a lot going on. And Addie will explain more about that because, you know, I'm still dealing with some stuff. Go ahead, Addie.
Hi, guys. I know we didn't have an episode last week.
And the week before.
And the week before, unfortunately, Angie's mother-in-law passed away. And she was someone that meant a lot to both of us. Mm-hmm. So we've been dealing with our family, so being there for our family, and mourning her loss. So it's been sad. But, you know, so we're back. Mm-hmm. Slowly but surely, we're getting back into our regular routine.
Yeah, and that's what she would have wanted.
Yeah.
You know, she wanted us to continue, and and Addie's into town, so we're like, okay, let's do this. Let's, produce some stuff for our watchers and subscribers.
So they don't forget about us. So.
We have Bibi in the bottom, so she will be making some noise.
My dog, Bibi. Maybe one day I'll put her up here, but she's so cute, but not today.
I know.
I know. Happy we're both wearing black. We didn't plan it.
No, we didn't. We didn't. I just came from work, guys. So I'm pretty much in my uniform for the day. So, but this is how important it is to be consistent. So I said, Addie, I'm coming over. And we have to film this, so this is why I'm here like this. Addie, you just put on black. I don't know why.
Yeah, it's been. I think I've been in black the last couple of days.
I know, isn't that something?
Yeah.
Oh Lord. So Addie, what is the hot topic for tonight? What are we going to be talking about?
The hot topic that's been world news all over the media. So we've been talking about this missing submarine.
Oh God, yes.
And the consequences of brilliant people making stupid decision. I can see, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, it just so happened it goes all over the world news. Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, we've been notified that they believe that the submarine imploded is what they called it. Yeah,
that's the latest news.
Where we've lost 5 lives. And apparently it has cost millions of dollars to search for them. So you're saying what could have prevented this?
Yeah, what could have prevented this great loss? I'm laughing. I
think you said there's no regulation there.
There is no regulation really.
There has to be. I think there is. There has to be. Especially because I think there are, based on what I'm reading, because it's supposed to be a tourist submarine that's created. Didn't you say it was like fiber? Like it's not using the typical
material
titanium that they usually use to create like a submarine. They call it.
I forgot the material.
Like that.
But you know what? I was listening to a news today regarding that material that they use for the outer part of it, and they said that is even stronger.
Than titanium?
Than metal.
Oh, but titanium is a strong metal.
However, there is a caveat to that. Mm-hmm. Even though it's stronger than metal in a normal atmosphere, they have not tested it in seawater in so many depths under the sea. Exactly. So they don't know how really that particular material is going to react to pressure, water, and a bunch of other stuff out of the sea. That's never been tested.
Wow, I didn't know that.
No, I heard it today while I was at work,
But based on what I read and saw, a lot of scientific personnel were telling them this is not safe.
Yeah.
There have been text messages between other entities and departments saying this is not safe. But I believe, what's the company called? I took notes of it.
Okay.
The CEO of the company of the submarine company.
It's a Gates, something Gates.
It's called Titan was the name of the. Because I believe what he wants to do, honestly, is why he started this is because he wants it to be a
tourist
attraction.
Yeah.
That you're gonna go see people. When are we gonna? The Titanic sank over 100 years ago. You could see every part of the Titanic in videos, especially the History Channel. They're constant. There has to be maybe hundreds and hundreds of thousands of documentary about the Titanic. Every part of it. Why would I, as an individual, be willing to pay $250,000 to go below sea level?
They're thrill seekers.
To see this. I mean,
in a craft. Well, you know what?
That's not even proven.
But you know what? To give the other passenger, I'm not talking about the owner now. To give the other passenger some credit, what did they know really? Because you never know what the owner really told them. You know, maybe because he at first he was saying it was a craft that's built by a NASA design, and then NASA put out a report like, what the hell they're talking about? We are not a part of this. And another big airline, Boeing, but some of their things from Boeing. Boeing had to put out another statement saying like, we have absolutely nothing to do with this.
Inconsistency and unproven.
Yes.
Because even I read an article where this gentleman from Vegas, and he said the CEO, what's the name of this company? Ocean Gate. The CEO
that's the name.
Of Ocean Gate kept pressuring him and his son to take part in this expedition.
Yeah.
And he kept saying, I have reservation. I have questions
about the safety
of this expedition. And he said he was so adamant about proving to him that this was so safe that he himself flew from wherever state he's from to Vegas on a home created airplane. So this guy obviously is a thrill seeker. Obviously nothing scares him. I'm talking about the CEO now of the company.
And while I was reading some news today, they had tried to sign up for a license, or it wasn't called a license, some type of regulatory board to give them permission, like legal permission to carry passengers and stuff. And they failed. They didn't get it. They're like, no, this is experimental.
So were those people aware that they didn't pass the safety
Of course, I'm sure that's why they didn't approve it, because it's an experimental craft.
And then somebody else is supposed to be on this. By the way, I heard this craft is the size of a minivan, and
but no. Even though and that's what I've been doing at work all day. I'm at work doing this stuff, but anyway, even though it's the size of a minivan, the report says it's bigger than most of the what do you call it?
Submarine?
The submarine that's gone to the Titanic, because the ones that are already gone to the Titanic can only fit, they said, 2 or 3 people, while this one could sit 5.
But how comfortably can they sit 5? Because I heard they couldn't even stretch their legs.
Well, true.
So, and you even mentioned that they were bolted in, and they couldn't even open it from inside. They had to be, once they got back into surfaces, when somebody would have to release the bolt.
15 or 17 bolts, Addie, really?
To release them.
This is why I don't understand. I said, okay, if I say initially, yes, I'll go. Addie, the minute that I go to the facility, and the minute that you're going to put one screw in, that's the time I start screaming out. You think you're going to bolt me in an aircraft I
don't think you're created for such adventure. I mean, you barely want to leave your house. This would never be something that you would partake in. I remember my niece calling me. I was still in California. Auntie Addie, you need to come home. This is something that you would do, but no. Imagine you're in this little tube with 5 other people.
And no way out.
No way out.
But to think about it, even if you're under...
And your oxygen level.
Even if you're under the sea, where you going to go? If you go out, you're underwater, you're going to drown anyway. But the point is, why would anybody go in a craft that is bolted on the outside? Another report says how dangerous it was, because sometimes it can drift off from the main point where they have the rescue vessel.
Well, they didn't even know what it was. Remember, in the report,
Exactly.
they were searching for it.
So, but the point is, what if they had resurfaced in that huge ocean? They don't have a beacon, no way of finding these people on there. And plus, the number one thing, you're bolted from the outside. There's no escape from this capsule.
And was it true that I heard they are using like what is this called? A game controller?
Yes. Yes. Yep.
This is a game controller to navigate this device. What? There are so many things that could have been done with $250,000.
But when he was questioned about that, and one of the prospective people that was going on the trip, when he questioned him about that, and he made sense. Addie, the guy is from an Ivy League school, so he's like, those are just exterior things, like the icing on the cake. I'm not worried about that. I'm worried about the cake itself. He's like, the only thing that you have to worry about is the capsule itself. And he's like, which is built, and the way how he explained it, the man believed him at the end. But he said still he couldn't get over the fact that it was a regular controller. And he's like, oh yeah, I have a couple of them on board just in case one fail. Yeah.
So was he the one navigating this controller?
Yes. Yeah.
This man, I mean, can you imagine? You're a billionaire. You have so much money, and of course, all the other passengers on this voyage are also very affluent, because for you to have $250,000 to just take I think it's a 2-hour trip, 2 hours just to get to
a little bit. 2 hours and some minutes
to get to below sea level. And you have a maximum of 96 hours of oxygen capacity for this trip. So you can figure out something else to do with the $250,000 to help humanity, because how is this helping humanity? The Titanic is gone. It sunk over 100 years ago.
Well,
People
you know
are starving.
What? It's true, but now that I think about it, and I'm thinking,
don't think too hard on this. Don't think too hard on this.
It would have been a good tourist attraction. I see the vision and the idea, not from me and you, without that adventurous.
No.
But that's how things start. But then remember, the Titanic is going to disappear. I was watching another episode about something, and apparently it's all covered in bacteria, some type of bacteria that's eating the metal.
It's over 100 years.
Yeah, but they estimate in another 100 years, all that structure that you see, it's going to turn to dust.
I'm surprised it didn't turn to dust already.
That's what I say, but
it's 100 years ago.
It's steel. Steel takes a while to break down.
But the thing is, I would imagine people, if you're really that rich, you could have one of those $250,000 you could invest it in a community project that would.
But that's not thrill seeking. They don't get anything from that.
I would think you would get something for that, because if you're so affluent, in a few years, you can see what your money actually produced.
That's like give it, Addie. They don't have.
I don't know. I just think
they're not there for charity. It's the thrill of the chase.
The thrill of the chase. Go run after lions. Go do something.
That's even worse.
Like that. You know what?
It's best for them to die under the sea.
I heard it was very fast. A scientist said they probably didn't even feel it when it happened.
Hope so. I hope that's
when
true.
It imploded, it happened like less than a second.
Addie, but I don't believe that.
But can you imagine hypothermia? You're under there. You don't know how cold it got down there.
They said about 50 degrees Fahrenheit.
If you're scared, people are body waste all over the place. The stench alone. You're
not going to smell it or nothing under the sea.
I don't know.
How are you going to food for the fish? Well, there's no fish down in that depth. Just the bacteria. Girl, what's the lesson from this?
I don't know. The lesson is like,
because we do need still explorer and people to take chances.
Exploration brings so many great advances to our society. But the thing is, I think this CEO of what is it called was very arrogant.
Seagate, is it Seagate? Ocean Gate.
So he's probably very arrogant. He probably wasn't listening to the experts that's telling you, hey,
no,
you may think
he had
that
a vision.
Imagine something like that you're exploring so far deep below sea level. It should take years of investigation.
But he's gone before and made it back 3 times. I'm told 3 or 4 times.
But you know what? It always take only one time.
And that's what they're saying. The stress on the vessel. So they should have been doing more investigation about the stress on the vessel. Basically, to either do a good maintenance on the vessel, you know,
and is it
do
bring
some
the
reinforcement.
Same vessel over again?
Yes,
Because-
it's the same vessel over and over again.
Because if it's the same vessel, every time that you bring in it,
And pressure on the hull.
pressure and the integrity of the material
Yep.
that it's made with is not the same. It's not going to be the same.
Yep.
From the first time, that every time that I feel like you bringing it, you taking it down that deep. You're not bringing back up the same.
And
the same
even
material.
me with my little nursing degree know this.
Yeah, I can figure that out. Like I'm not a scientist.
I didn't know, but when you talk about pressure, the amount of pressure that I didn't even know sea and water can build up so much pressure.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, but the way they explain it, because you know you have to have the air seal, what do you call it, tight seal, and
Even
then the
when you
water.
Go diving, even when you go scuba diving, like I just remember when I was in St. Martin, a group of us when we went, they went scuba diving, and you already know me. I'm like shark. No, I'm not going. But I remember one of our friend, he had a blood vessels because when he went down
Went
so
too deep.
fast.
And that's why they tell you not to come up so fast when you're surfacing, because you can get a ear bleed or
So
something.
He literally had a blood vessel burst. Like you can see it for days and days. His eyes were shut. This whole eyes was shut red. And you just scuba diving. Can you imagine? You're not going that deep. So to me, I feel like we do need some. I believe they do have regulation. I do believe that because something like that.
Not in the open water, and if somebody volunteer,
sure?
yeah, not in the open water. And like I said, that's how he got people. Not in open waters, and you have people who are willing to pay you to go with you. You can't stop them in the middle of the ocean. He's not on land. There's nobody regulating the land. Like when a boat go over the ocean, it's the boat itself that's regulated, not the ocean where it is.
But what about the fact is, I think we need to do a little research on this because I didn't. That's one thing I didn't look. Is there regulation to prevent someone from putting somebody else's life at risk?
No, people.
Because remember the guy that signed there was one guy that was supposed to go on this expedition. When he saw, because
that 3 times on the first page, hell. But you know what? To be fair, that's if when you go to Jamaica, you're going on Mystic Mountain, which is the seat and the crane that goes up to the restaurant way in the hills. Well, you have to sign a release, and on the release, it tells you a couple of times that you can die from this, you can die from this, you can die from this. And when you sign your name, you know what I mean? So that's not unheard of. They just want to be absolved of all responsibility when you do die.
Okay, so what do you think about the father that took his 19-year-old with him?
That's the sad part.
But do you think that was irresponsible of him to do so?
Yes and no.
Yes, let me tell you. Especially, I think he's from the Middle East, right? That family's from the Middle East. There is a level of respect that they have for their parents. Even if he had fear, even if he didn't want to go because his dad recommended it, he would still have went.
Yeah, possibly.
So therefore, I don't.
Possibly.
There's just a lot of senseless loss to me. Is what I'm gathering from this. That how can we?
But you know what? It probably needed to happen because then people are going to research this more. So he did actually bring the curiosity, because in the past couple of weeks, how much people researched submarines and pressure under the water and the Titanic. I almost watched the Titanic all over again this week after watching all this news. You see what I mean? No, he's bringing some curiosity over.
Curiosity is one thing, but at what cost? Like
people are going to want to go now before the Titanic disappear completely.
Honestly, I think I would not want to. If I was interested in going before, now I'm definitely not interested in going.
But you know, Ocean Gate, if that's just a part of their business, because their regular business is to go, just low enough to see the sea coral. You know this? They have that's not the only submarine they have. They have other water devices where they can see under shallow water. And they're making big business
Yeah,
in the
so
Caribbean
brilliant.
island.
But okay, if you're making that much money that you're that you have other products that you offer, was it irresponsible of him? I don't know if he's the brain behind his operation.
But he had to go. He had to go because that's the only way.
Invest
Yeah.
other
Yes.
passengers
Yeah.
to take the risk
Because,
to go.
because if you're going to convince me to do something so dangerous and you're standing on the boat while I go under, Daddy, really? I just spent $250,000 to go on this submarine and the owner is standing right there on the deck looking at me. No, I would be very hesitant. But that's why, and this is why the other people went. These brilliant people, they went because the owner himself, because nobody would think an owner himself would risk their life knowing that this vessel was unsafe. But his compadres, one of them says he believed what he was saying. You see what I mean? And because he believed what he was saying.
But you still believe him after there were so many inconsistencies? That's how
Addie, he went. That's what I'm trying to tell you. He was in the submarine with them.
He can go, but if I hear NASA said I didn't. NASA is a
But they never
NASA
said hello. And this is the kicker. Nobody said anything. Even James Cameron, is that his name, the producer? James Cameron was aware of the unsafety about this thing, and he said in an interview that he wished he had spoken up and said something before this. You see what I mean? It's only now, like, I didn't know there was a company called Ocean Gate. No. And this is the thing, people don't know the true information that is given out there. And like I said, the CEO himself was also on this vessel. So $250,000 these people pay to go on the vessel because he himself was on there. Per
passenger, by the way.
Yeah, per passenger. And that's why it was so easy for them to make the decision.
But it can't, I mean, the thing is, like I was saying, if NASA had came back and said, okay, this is we produced this, or we're part of the metal, whatever it is, vessel was created by us, that would give me a little bit more security because guess what? NASA's been in space over and over. It's a proven it's a proven entity.
And he said it. The guy said it that NASA was a part of the design, and of course it was a lie. But maybe NASA, I don't think they watch every interview and could have never said no, we are not a part of this until it becomes so highlighted now in a big issue. So that's why they spoke up, because this thing became such a big issue. And so that's what I'm saying. It's lies. He was lying.
Says no. Boeing said Boeing.
I think it was Boeing, one of the aircraft.
And
NASA said
had nothing to do with
no,
this.
they didn't. So, and he bragged in one of his infomercial or commercial that, oh, this aircraft is so safe, because NASA had a part in the design, and some other, I think it was Boeing, he said, had a part in this, da-da-da-da-da. And all of that was like just to get people on board to his madness, because that's what it is.
Even if it's lying, even if he got an engineer that's a NASA engineer, came and worked part of it, he can say NASA. But then again, there's a liability because that employee of NASA, if NASA didn't give him approval to use their name, then he could be liable too.
Girl, he probably just buy one little part. That's probably where he get the handheld thing. Probably got that damn thing from NASA. I joke, he didn't. You know where he bought? Addie, and not only that, the guy, one of the guys who said why he didn't go, is like when he went in it, it's camping gear. The man went to Walmart, Addie, and bought the camping gear for the light system.
You lying.
He said when he went in
$250,000.
Yeah, when he went in, the thing just looked like what do they call it, jiggy rigged? Yeah, just little, and he's like, what? So that's why when he questioned him about what's going on here, he said, that's okay. Don't look at the exterior stuff. Yes, I mean, the body is built well.
I love the way the guy from Las Vegas said the man was so adamant about any concern you had about safety, he just brushed you off.
Was that the one that was that had a son too? He was trying to get him and his son.
He said he wanted me and my son to go in this so bad that he flew a homemade airplane from his state. I don't know if it's California to Vegas. He said, boy, this man is a risk.
Yeah.
But it's sad because how did we get here?
We got here because we're listening to the wrong people. And I can't even say we need to be smarter because those people are smart. They just got roped into a situation.
Because they believe because the CEO sold them.
A damn lie. I
Stress
think
on the
Ocean
family.
Gate did put out a statement too, you know.
Ocean
Ocean,
Gate has to cover. They have to cover it.
yeah,
have to
they did
cover
put
the
out this.
cost.
No, they put out a statement of, you know, issuing, you know, apologies and not apologies, but like a condolences about what's going on, the tragedy to the family member, you know.
But that was the news of all everywhere, worldwide news. And funny enough, there was a white guy on TikTok,
I think I watched him.
and I can't stop watching him. I honestly,
Yeah.
I've seen it, and everybody else are adding their own little bits and pieces to it. He said, "Do you know who's not in the bottom of the ocean? Black people." He said, "I must be black." I was like, 'cause he said, "Black people," because we're not doing. He's like, "I must be black because part black because," he said, "I need to do my DNA ancestry because there is no way I'm gonna do that." We're living right now to do this.
And you know what? One of the reports says every time one of the guys that was supposed to go, he said twice they tried to make the trip, and twice there was major issues. Something didn't work, and they had to come back. One of them said he went down. They made it down to 1,000 feet, and they had to.
Below sea level, or
Yeah, 1,000 feet. They made it halfway, right? Isn't that halfway? No, I
don't
don't
know.
know. But they made it 1,000, right? And they had to come back up because something was not working,
and they still went back.
and they still went back on the same craft.
Vessel.
Yeah, yeah, yep. And that wasn't the first time, he said. The second time they had issues too.
But then we talked. We know we were talking the other day when you said that there was a submarine that every time they went down, it could only be used once.
There was a report I was also reading that the first time they did a submarine and it went even below that depth because the Titanic isn't as far as where this and they retired it on the trip back. And why did they do it? Because of stress. They recognizes that going that deep and the stress that it put in all the joints, they could never use that craft again to ever go down that deep.
So did the CEO of Seagate, did he read the Ocean Gate? I'm sorry, Ocean Gate. Did he
Read all of that. I
Did
don't
he-
know.
did he do the investigation?
The man look intelligent to me and
Being intelligent and being
I don't know.
there's nothing more deadlier than being intelligent
And dumb.
and arrogant.
Yeah, and I think that's what it was. He had something to prove, and he took people life with him.
But shouldn't you do? There should be multiple case of study, saying, okay, once I.
He was doing that. That's what he was doing. What he was doing was case study. He just brought people with. That's what he was doing. It was an experimental trip and a case studies trip, and he just brought other people along because he wanted the money. And it went well. When I say well, they made it down to the Titanic before, so he felt like he can do it again.
But so what about? Like I'm just saying, like if they didn't do all these. Okay, so this was a case study. I'm saying after the first time, did they assess the submarine to see? Okay,
That's the kicker.
how did the pressure,
Boy, who knows?
I don't think he did.
I don't think so because I think he relied on that carbon
fiber,
something,
whatever
carbon
the
fiber.
material that they
He
use.
relied on it too much, like it's stronger than steel or stronger than metal. So he just relied on all of that and don't know that even that itself can have stress cracks or something in it.
But just because it's strong in our element on the ground on Earth, does it weigh the same?
Who knows?
There's
Who
so many
knows?
questions, and I think you said why are they still investigating? Why are they still searching when they know that the implosion happened?
Look here. Do you know that the first person who discovered the Titanic, I didn't even know this because all I knew about the Titanic was the movie by James Cameron. But the person that discovered the Titanic is only now I was listening to a documentary that they weren't even looking for the Titanic. They used it as a cover. They were trying to spy on some sonar buoy or something under the ocean from Russia or something. I don't want to tell, misinformation. Guys, look it up. they were actually spying under the ocean because I guess they had their submarine under the ocean. So that's what they were spying on, and bringing and feeding the government back information. So they had 2 weeks extra after that because I guess they were so good that it took them the less time to figure out where the Russian government is hiding buoys or something. And from that, they use the extra 2 weeks now to search for the Titanic in that area, and they found the Titanic. And so, of course, it was big news that he went down there because he wanted to discover the Titanic. They weren't looking for the Titanic. They knew where the Titanic presumably was all this time. They just didn't have any interest in finding it until the government wanted some information.
They know where it sank. It sank right in front of thousands of people who were on the boat. They can tell you this is where the Titanic was. This is where we were when the Titanic sank. Those who survived, but I don't know. To me, it seems like it was a waste of resources.
It was
a waste of money.
But I can't say that yet because. It's like this. In every tragedy, there is a lesson to be learned.
Of course, that's America for you. We're never proactive. We're always reactive to everything.
No, meaning somebody's gonna build a better vessel now.
They're gonna build. That's what I'm saying. Now that this happened, they're gonna create something better. They're gonna investigate what happened. They're going to.
If I'm going into the ocean, to be honest with you, in a craft like that, I'd rather see fish and a whale. Why the hell am I going down to some Titanic? Nothing is down there.
Don't force somebody to do something that they're afraid of because you're gonna have consequences of that. So I'm not into any of those rides. All I do when I go to Disney World is a teacup. You know the teacup?
I almost fainted in a teacup, much less.
You're lying.
It goes around and around. Girl, I felt dizzy. I'm like, oh my God, I'm about to lose it. I'm about to faint.
The teacup is the cutest ride. You can the teacup.
No, but not if the person in there is really trying to. It goes fast.
It's not that fast. The teacup goes like this, and I do the go-kart. Is that the go-kart? The car bump, whatever. The go-kart. Those are the only two things I've ever done in these rides because anything else is out of my control. I don't feel like somebody else driving me because I don't like.
Well, I don't mind that, but I have to drive only because I get car sick.
Yeah, it's God. These people had to be really brave to take this expedition because there's no way I would have done it.
Yeah, my heart goes out to the 4 people.
5.
My heart goes out to the 4 people that died. 4 that died. The other one, not so much, because he was the risk taker. He was the one who pretty much let this happen. Shoot. So my heart goes out to the 4 poor souls.
But there were 5 people in the video.
Well, my heart goes out to his family. Yeah, his family, and then the 4 people and their family. That's how I do it. That's how I roll. Because clearly he wanted to die.
He did not. Angie, he's an adventure person. I just hope they do a thorough investigation and prevent it from. Because I'm sure another company is gonna try to do something ridiculous like that. Like, I kid you not.
Not if they actually get Boeing, and not if they actually get NASA to design this thing.
But even before I think before they can actually they need a prototype that goes in multiple times before they actually put a human being in the vessel.
You know what? And not only that. First of all, for me to go down to the Titanic, I would have to have my own window. There was only one little peephole, and then the rest was on a monitor in the thing. So why the hell am I gonna go to how much
Watching on TV.
was 2.5 miles?
2.5 hours to go to.
How many miles? I thought it was 2 miles under the water.
All I read, maybe because it might be.
Yeah,
I read
I don't think it's
hours to get down there.
I remember. But I'm like, I said, wait a minute. I said, why would I go in a vessel that's bolted 17 times, 15 to 17 times from the outside, and there's not even a window where I can look out, and I'm looking at a monitor. If that's the case, I might as well stay on the ship. Oh, and that's another thing I heard in the news today. Do you know that some of their families were on the vessel that was up top, waiting for them to surface? Did you know this? The gentleman with his son, the wife was waiting on the ship for them to resurface. Addie, do you know? Can you imagine? God Almighty, if my picnic can't come out of the water, what do you think what happened?
Not even the husband. Just thinking about your picnic for real, like, because you know she's thinking.
I like Duke this week, yeah, but yeah. Duke don't come up. Mika and Alex lad, she said, Addie, just
the thought of it, right? Because when you put it like
Addie,
that,
carry me to a madhouse, because me know me I go insane.
Can you imagine? Like, it's one thing, like, that's what I kept saying. Why did he take his son with him?
Because the wife said, did you watch the wife interview?
No,
you have this story you're talking about, you haven't been watching anything. Well,
no,
I got bits and pieces. I
get
got bits and pieces. Today, when I was at work again, you wonder what I do at work to be watching these things. But the wife had an interview, and she was the one who was supposed to originally go with the husband. Yeah. Because there was a woman, the first trip, a woman went. A woman went down. So she was the one that was supposed to go with her husband. This is what she claimed. And her claim contradicts the aunt. But when I rather believe the mother than the auntie. Because the auntie said, oh, he didn't want to go. He was terrified, blah, blah, blah. But then the mom said she was the one that was supposed to go with the husband. But then the son wanted to bottom with him. You know, get closer to the dad and stuff like that. So he opted and was even looking forward, even though she said he was a little bit afraid, but he was looking forward to go do this trip with the dad.
At Polo? But
guys, just be careful out there. You know, and it's not, you know, I don't even know what to say to close this off. What do you say to close something like this off?
But
you know?
I think you guys should tell us what could have been done with the money. Like, she's focusing on the, you know, like they are affluent, they want the adventure, they want to check another check mark to say, oh, you know, if I went to France this year, but I'm like, but did you go where? Under the sea? But I think personally, they need to regulate these billionaires, multimillionaires.
If the adventure is by themselves, fine, go kill yourself if that's what you want. But when it involves, I would say when it involves one or more people, that's when there's, you know, there should be some type of regs to go with whatever nonsense they're planning.
Yeah, and my heart is definitely broken for that wife, because she just lost 2 family members at once. And, and I know when she was up there waiting for her husband and her son, she's probably thinking, oh my God.
No, they had hope, and they had hope still. Like, you know, it's just, you know, it was just a missing thing, and they're going to find them. And I'm sure the people them try to reassure them, oh, that happened before, we're just going to find them, you know? Or what were they told? That's another story.
But every minute was heart wrenching for her, because not only I hope she has other children, you know, because that would be.
I know.
So.
I don't know. She didn't say that.
But let us know what could have been the resources. Should we pay? Should the government pay for the rescue team that went out to look for them? Because according to this research I saw, it says 1.5. It will cost an estimation of $1.5 million. And I'm sure the cost's gonna keep going, because the more people have to go down and figure out what happened
and put their life at risk.
Yeah. So, should we pay for it? Should the taxpayer pay for this, or should the company CEO, the company, pay for it?
Yeah.
And also, $250,000 was it even worth it, or could that money been utilized somewhere better?
Definitely, it could have been.
For society, you know.
Girl, the only thing I can say, if you have an accident and the ambulance come and pick you up, you're gonna get a $250 bill in the mail.
Right, and why should we pay 1.5?
And we already paid for that.
Yeah.
Shoot.
It's true. When you go to the emergency room, it's. I went to the emergency room. I can't believe the bill that they sent me recently.
For 2 hours.
And for 2 hours, and guys, just FYI.
And that should be our next show.
Right.
The cost of DAB healthcare just going to the ER versus the MR.
Right. I can't tell you. Just the only. Okay, I didn't want no fluids. I told him no fluids, no medicine. I didn't have anything for a headache, because I can't imagine. The only thing I told him is that I want the CT done, and I think they had to put an IV to draw some blood. And that alone was over almost $10,000. It was over $10,000.
How much was, well, CT cost probably about between
The
2 to
CT I
3.
can understand. The CT I can understand. So I requested an itemized item of my bill.
And how many physicians did you see?
One.
My God.
And I saw him for 5 seconds when I refused the IV fluids and the Tylenol, whatever else he was trying to give me, medicine wise.
And your bill came to $10,000?
It's more than 10,000 because I see somewhere it says minus 8,000. I don't know how they deduct 8,000. But crazy. The CMP was over almost 13,000. The TSH alone was like 900. So
You mean 1,300?
1,300.
Oh, you said
I
13,000.
said 13,000. I guess what I meant. 1,300. So as you can see, we need to discuss this. So they have so much money to go waste, but we can't even go to a quick emergency to see what's going on with us.
I know.
But anyway, what should we do?
I don't know. We'll just trek on, move on. You know, times move forward, so we move forward with it.
But definitely share your opinions on what you think could have been done with a better resource. What do you think of the CEO of the company? What do you think of the company? What do you think the government the responsibility is in all this? Was the regulation not there? Let's discuss it so we can get back into the groove of things.
I know. Get in the groove. We need
All
to
right.
get back in some groove. Okay, guys. Have a good night.
Good night.